Clear skies and about 80 degrees in Miami, Florida today. American Airlines Arena has been turned into what the team calls the Red Zone. And on this Mother's Day, more than 20,000 to file in. Dwayne Wade, Shaquille O'Neal, the two key guys, of course, as you come inside American Airlines Arena and we get ready for the next round of the playoffs. East semifinals game one, best of seven, the Washington Wizards against the Miami Heat. Al Michaels along with Yubi Brown, Michelle Tafoya, welcome to Miami in game one. Yubi, we saw last week in game four in New Jersey, the Heat sweep the Nets. They, in 3 games, had really no problems. There was one double overtime win. They've had a week off and a lot of rest. Do you expect Miami to pick up today where they left off 7 days ago?
I absolutely, Al, because they're an organized staff. They're going to maximize their practices. Shaq was available on Friday and Saturday for 2 hard workouts. They're coming off a series where 4 people averaged 16 to 26 points. So they want to keep that edge. And I feel today with Shaq healthy, I think they'll have the right frame of mind here.
Every team, of course, facing the Heat, Shaq and Wade. You all know that, but what do you do? What are the Wizards going to do to try to neutralize them?
Well, the pressure is on. Can you keep Shaq and Wade out of the paint off the dribble? If not, then you're going to foul them. They get to the foul line 9 and 10 times, 19 to 20 each ball game. You must cut that down. If you double team, you have to get back out and cut down Damon Jones and Eddie Jones. They're coming off a series where they both shot over 50% in threes. Sounds easy, Al, but a yeoman's job.
Yeah, for a lot of opponents, pick your poison. #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Now the Bud Light starting lineups for the Wizards in the second round for the first time in 23 years. Larry Hughes and Gilbert Arenas in the backcourt. Jared Jeffries, Brendan Haywood, who will get O'Neal as his assignment up front, along with Jamison. Jones and Wade in the backcourt, then Eddie Jones, Shaq, and Udonis Haslem up front for Miami. And before the tip, check in with Michelle.
Well, Alan Hubie, you guys mentioned the week-long layoff for Miami and how that's helped Shaq get back into practice. But for Damon Jones, he has a right heel contusion that has kept him out of practice since game 1 of round 1. I spoke to him just moments ago. He told me the pain in that right heel on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 7. He will not practice, according to Stan Van Gundy, for the remainder of the postseason. So he will just be available for games. Now, as for the Wizards, Larry Hughes has some low back issues, a sore lower back, as well as a sprained ligament in his left elbow. He said where that impacts him the most is making quick motions with that left arm, and that even when the ball is right in front of him, he's hesitant to go after it. So watch for that, Al Hubie.
And here we go with Shaquille O'Neal. Illegal jump on the opening tip. Got into the circle, and so Washington will wind up with the basketball. The Washington Wizards, 40 hours ago, won their series against Chicago after losing the first 2 in the Windy City. Win 4 in a row. The phenomenal finish the other night. Flew down here yesterday, and here they go right back to work. Hughes outside. This is Antoine Jamison, finishing his first season with Washington, and the floater from the lane drops in, so the Wizards take the lead.
Now, when you play Washington, you know that Arenas, Hughes, and Jamison are going to come in somewhere between 60 and 70 points. You just try to cut that back out.
Dwayne Wade, #3. What a sensational series against New Jersey. Inside, Shaq handles the ball for the first time. He has Haywood on him. He turns toward the baseline and puts it in over Brendan Tyre.
Well, Miami will always test you early. They're going to Shaq in on the post and then also pick and rolls out on the wings for Wade.
Gilbert Arenas, big hero the other night in Chicago, has this one stolen. Eddie Jones had a big series against New Jersey. Underneath to Wade.
Miami, very dangerous, excellent defensive team. Play the passing lanes as well as any team in this slate.
Jeffries. It was Jeffries who had the steal the other night on the inbound pass from Kirk Heinrich. And this is Haywood, and that will count, and Haywood will go to the free throw line.
Now, Al, today we have teams 1 and 2 for getting to the foul line for foul shot attempts. Both teams came in at 30+. So with Miami, it's Shaq and Wade, basically. But with Washington, you have Jamison, Arenas, and Hughes very quick off the dribble, will consistently challenge you one-on-one, going hard to the rim.
Hayward, a 61% free throw shooter, completes the three-point play. Miami down by 1, and Shaq will try to take care of that, and he'll get fouled and go to the free throw line. Shaquille coming off his worst ever season at the free throw line. Shaq normally around 50%. And this year under at 46 and change.
Well, if you're really watching this game closely from a defensive standpoint, on Shaq's first 2 catches, they are playing him man-to-man, no doubling. Now, this is interesting because what they're trying to do is they're saying that they're going to stay at home on the perimeter three-point shooters, and they're going to force Shaq into scoring a ton of points here today.
46.1 from the line. But as Shaq likes to say, you know, I make them when I need them. And he made 4 big ones in one of the games against New Jersey in the fourth quarter, the double overtime game. So he doesn't lie. Mostly. He doesn't make all of them, but he certainly has hit his share of clutch ones through the years.
A nice way to try to get out of that.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for pointing it out. Heat ball on the turnover. Game tied 5-5 early on.
Eddie Jones has a very difficult cover today, and that is Antoine Jamison, because he is so quick off the dribble. Now, this is an example of what Washington will do. They will change defenses every single time they score off a foul shot or if a ball goes out of bounds.
Hughes takes the inbounds pass. Wade is on him. Hughes gets it back. This will be a three-pointer that doesn't go. Hayward fighting for the rebound, and it is off Miami, so Washington will inbound.
If you have not had an opportunity to see Washington play this year, they are number 1 in foul shot attempts. Look, very right there, same emphasis. Number 1 in offensive rebounding. And we just saw, I got a little taste of that.
Here's Hayward. And Larry Hughes leads the league, or led the league during the regular season in steals per game. Wade underneath. Hayward got a hand on it. Shaq can't jam it.
I like the defensive recovery that time, Al.
Big. Here's Arenas. There's contact and it won't count. He put it up. And the foul before the shot. Go back to the defense on Shaquille underneath.
Now keep an eye down inside. See, once the ball goes down in there, now you will see people coming if Shaq is already committed to go for the dunk. You cannot fall asleep. Miami, as they're changing ends in transition, will always look for the post-up man or a cutter going to in the paint.
Here's Hughes, played 1 season of college basketball at St. Louis, and he gets fouled. The Wizards do not have a lot of guys with playoff experience. In fact, 9 of the 12 guys, including the suspended Kwame Brown, playing in their first ever playoff series. But 6 of the Wizards, half the roster, 6 of them have played in the Final Four, and 4 of them have played in an NCAA championship game.
Well, I like the matchup today. Hughes, Wade. You're talking about 2 players at this level right now. Both guys averaging over 20 points. Both exciting off the dribble. They can take it from end to end and create. And then both players at that position rebound at 5 to 6 a game.
Washington on top by 2. 2:15 into the game. Game 1 in this Eastern semifinal series. O'Neal, Hayward on him. Stays with him as long as he can, and then Shaq says, pardon me, and puts in the slam dunk.
Well, Hayward knows that he has to stay in a game here, so anytime that Shaq is going for the dunk, he will need assistance from somebody coming from the weak side.
Arenas from outside the arc. They get the offensive rebound, a whip around pass inside. Haslam got his hand on it, and Wade brings it into the front court for Miami. Damon Jones, who had a tremendous game against New Jersey, and then it's too high for Wade. But it was Haslam who came down with it, and then Damon Jones misses that shot.
Yeah, they lost sight of the shot clock. That shot went up with 12 seconds. There was no need to hurry.
Hughes missing, and Haslam, who averaged 11.6 rebounds per game this season. One of the unsung stars of the Miami Heat with a rebound.
Now Washington gets it up and down quick, Al. So the transition defense at both ends of the floor, very important. Now, if you notice, Miami already with a couple of turnovers quick.
Haywood knocked that one away, and then Arenas can't cash in, but Haywood is there for the offensive board.
That's the third offensive rebound early in this game.
Jeffries doesn't shoot that much, missing, and it's again Haslam with the rebound.
I'm Eddie Jordan, Washington coaching staff. I'm very happy. We're getting great looks at the basket. Shaq is not powering us into the floor as of yet, and we're getting away with single coverage down here.
And we get a foul here as Wade gets out. I agree with you, Yubi, in the sense that if you're Eddie Jordan and Washington, I mean, you won that emotional series. You blew a 22-point lead in Game 5 and then won it on the arena shot in Chicago. You come from behind in a game Chicago leads almost all the way the other night. You win that. And then maybe there's a letdown. Maybe you come in here and Miami goes out, 15-2 or something. Not the case.
The toughest thing in the playoffs, Al, is to win a game Friday night, practice Saturday, travel, and then play an afternoon game on national television.
And that's another steal against Shaq.
You have to remember what we said now, New Jersey is right at the top of the league in forcing turnovers. Now he got fouled. He got hit. Oh, definitely. The people are all upset, but there was a step in below his weight, plus he was fouled on the shot. But I like what Washington is doing. They're very quick in steals. They're very quick in forcing turnovers, and then they maximize their transition game. If you notice, their three main perimeter guys are getting in a majority of the shots in the open floor.
Haywood did that 2 trips down the court, 2 in a row. Haslam now has 2 fouls, and so Christian Laettner has to come into the game. And Washington, despite missing its last 7 field goal attempts, has a chance to take the lead here. Haywood misses the first of 2. Here's Michelle.
Guys, you were talking about how difficult it is for this turnaround. I spoke with Larry Hughes before the game. He said this feels like a back-to-back. After the win in Game 6 over Chicago, they didn't get out of the arena till midnight. They were there the next day for a walkthrough, got on a plane quickly, flew here, had a meeting this morning, and back they are on television playing. He said this has been just a flurry.
Here's Jones, giving Miami the lead again on a long 2-pointer. Damon Jones, who got Miami off to a great start in the Jersey series with a huge game 2 weeks ago today in Game 1.
Well, both teams will put the pressure on you in screen and rolls. Washington will try to include Shaq as a defender in the screen and roll. We'll see if he will come out and contest the dribbler. Now, at the other end of the floor, you're going to see what is the pressure point for Haywood. Will Haywood step up, trap the pick and roll? Will they allow Shaq to roll? We'll just see as this game develops.
That was the first foul on Eddie Jones, but already the 5th on Miami. So Washington in the bonus right now with a lot of time to play in the first quarter. And Anton Jameson started his career with Golden State, went to Dallas. He was the 6th man of the year last year. This year a starter in all of his 68 games for Washington. 9-8 Miami. Winner of this series meets the winner of the Detroit-Indiana series in the Eastern Conference Final.
Now, that was the first time that Washington was in a 2-3 zone, and it came after a foul shot attempt.
Arenas backs out, drops it underneath, but then Jeffries lost it. Arenas gets it back and scores, and the Wizards have the lead by 1.
When you play the front court for Washington, you must be alive because their guys are very quick off the dribble. They're slashers. They get down into the painted area, and then you must look for the open pass.
Eddie Jones bouncing it into O'Neal. Hayward's done a nice job on Shaq to this point, but Shaq turns around, drops it in, and gets fouled.
When you play Shaq or you play any post player, if you are not going to elevate and at least try to put pressure on the shot, he'll just make this all night long. Now, we know Shaq shoots 60% during the regular season, and we know that he's been a high percentage throughout his entire career. But come on, you've got to get up in the air. We're not saying block the shot, but get up and try to give some type of intimidation, just a little bit.
Shaq missing, but whistle underneath and a foul here. Dick Pavetta, Blaine Reichelt, and Tom Washington by the officials today, and that was a lane violation. So Shaquille O'Neal, with a little bit of hesitation, caused the lane violation, gets to do it again. Still doesn't work, and the same thing. I think we've got another lane violation.
Well, I like what Washington is doing right now. See, Jeffries and Jamison are complaining because, from my viewpoint, Leitner was in the lane first. Then the two Washington players reacted.
So Shaq has missed the first two, but gets another one. No lane violation, still missing.
Now wait, now Shaq's being a Newark, New Jersey product, grew up there, just did the Ballantyne sign because that's where the Ballantyne Brewery used to be.
Right there, yes. And what about that move by Jeffries, driving all the way in, scores, gets fouled, goes to the free throw line, and the Wizards have the lead again.
This young guy has really solidified this lineup. Now you notice he's a slasher. He's 6'11", slight of build. But what you have to do is pay attention to him. He can put points on the board for you. Unfortunately for him, the big three take the vast majority of the shots here, so it's somewhat limited. But he, in this series, Al, he could be a pleasant surprise for you.
Jared Jeffries, a Hoosier through and through, born in Bloomington, Indiana, raised there, high school there, and then attended Indiana University.
Now they're in the 2-3 zone again with the offside guard dropping back, trying to take away the lane.
Jones underneath to O'Neal as it rolls off the rim, and here comes Jeffries running the floor. Jeffries all the way, missing, and Wade gets the board.
Yeah, see, that was a bad shot. He got caught going up too early, ended up with a poor percentage shot.
Leitner with a reverse left-handed layup to tie the game.
Now there's that again, Al. You miss a layup at one end, it's incredible how quick the opposition will score at the other, usually in less than 3 to 4 seconds.
In fact, that was the key the other night. Not only a missed layup, but that tremendous block by Arenas on what would have been Heinrich's layup. Instead of a 6-point lead, back came Washington, and the rest, history. History to the extent it's their first time in the second round in 23 years. Timeout called here. The game tied 13-13.
Hi, this is Shaq O'Neal saying Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers watching the playoffs on ABC, including my mom. Hi, Mommy. Love you.
I like when you call Mom Mommy. Mom's always Mommy.
In the early going, Al, Washington is definitely getting what they want. Unfortunately for them, they're only shooting 31% from the floor. But they are also getting to the line. Already 8 foul shot attempts. But you cannot miss 3. So, but if I'm in that huddle, I'm happy. Our game plan is good. Our changing defenses down the floor, sometimes man, sometimes zone traps, coming back man-to-man, and then also showing you a 2-3 zone has definitely been upsetting in the first 6 minutes of play.
Yeah, very infrequently will you see a 2-to-1 ratio in field goal percentage and have the score tied. But again, as Yubi said, free throws have made the difference. 5 out of 8 for the Wizards, 1 of 3 for Miami. The only he who's been to the line is Shaquille O'Neal. Meanwhile, Wade has been limited to 2 points thus far in the game. Inside to Leitner, and that's blocked by Jeffries. Great move inside by Jeffries.
Well, you have an advantage here. No one guarding Jeffries. There he is.
He runs into Shaq, puts it up over Shaq, and then it's batted out of bounds off Ewood, Miami ball.
There is one negative with Washington so far. The shots. Some of them have been really low percentage shots, Al, when guys are open. And that must change here because this is the team that grinds you out defensively over 48 minutes. Miami, one of the top 4 teams that we have in the league defensively.
Wizards can be a little wild. They went through a lot of stretches like that in the playoffs against Chicago, and there's O'Neal with a hook from the lane to make it 15-13.
22.
Wizards 2 of their last 12 from the field, but still only 2 down. Hughes gets it back out. Jamison was on the line, so that would have been a 2. Jeffries is underneath, got position, and then O'Neal is there to thwart it. Here's Damon Jones, 7 years in the league, 9 teams. He's really found a home. The longtime veteran Eddie Jones missing. Shaq goes up over the top of Hayward, and the ball winds up out of bounds.
You're absolutely right. He really was up over the top with both hands in the back of Hayward. But give Hayward a lot of credit. Blocked him out, put his body on Shaq, moved him back.
Hayward's going to come out. Etan Thomas will come in. Damon Jones, long two. Eddie Jones scrambles for the rebound. Underneath, Arenas gets it away and passes outside to Hughes. Quickly to Antoine Jamison, short.
Yeah, all the jumpers are short, Al.
Damon Jones to Eddie Jones, the Jones boys.
Anytime that you shoot quick in transition, meaning Washington, you have to understand Miami is dangerous in the open floor. Their 3 perimeter players fly out.
Arenas all the way to the hoop. Contested by O'Neal and gets fouled on his way to the hoop. They're going to call that foul, I believe, on Damon Jones.
Yeah, that was a late call, Al, but it was a definite foul. That's what you want to see with using Arenas. They must take Wade and Damon Jones strong to the basket because they can get by and get to the rim. Force the double teaming, which opens up then, if you miss the shot, your offensive rebounding.
Shaq's second foul. That means Mourning's going to come into the game. Arenas at the free throw line. Here's Michelle.
Well, what you said is exactly what Eddie Jones told them, Hubie, in their last time out. He urged his players to continue to drive offensively. He said the Heat is throwing their elbows. Eventually, we're going to get those calls. Defensively, he gave a lot of credit to Hayward and Jeffries for defending the post. He just implored his team to stay organized, so now it's the job of Etan Thomas to come in and help keep that post defense organized, guys.
Arenas misses the first of 2. Shaq had a word for Blaine Reichelt as he takes his seat on the bench. Alonzo Mourning picked up a few weeks ago, and what a godsend he has been with Shaq's bruised thigh. Mourning had a tremendous game in Game 2 against his old team, New Jersey, and he's been a big pickup for Pat Riley and Stan Van Gundy and the Heat. Wade. Sooner or later, you knew that was coming.
The young man is just beautiful to watch when he makes up his mind that he's taking you from half court in.
Etan Thomas goes to work on Mourning. Offensive foul.
Once again, Washington gets inside the paint, but ends up with a poor percentage shot. The opportunities are there, Al. Now the object is to think hard and get a good shot attempt.
They got to hit some, too. They hit 24%. Miami leads 19-14. 2 fouls on Shaquille O'Neal. Dick Bavetta has seen just about everything in his 30 years. Listen to this.
We're trying to be fair and square on both ends, Shaq. Fair and square on both ends.
I had 2 turnovers. You see, when I get the ball, brother, that's my rent money. I don't turn it over.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, see, Shaq's complaining that once he gets the ball and he makes his move, he's being held. See, right there, he feels that he's getting it in the lower back low, and he's being held. Now, that remains to be seen. I think that Washington is doing an excellent job. Once he puts it down on the floor, when he's at the box area close to the rim, they're coming back in and getting their hands on the ball and knocking it away. Now, he only has 2 turnovers, but he is deeply concerned. He's off to a great start, 9 points in 8 minutes.
So after the Washington timeout, it's a 5-point Miami lead. Under 3 minutes to play in the opening period. First game of a best of 7. Second game here in Miami on Tuesday. Wade missing. Series resumes in our nation's capital Thursday and then again on Saturday for the 4th game. So very little rest upcoming for the Washington Wizards, who came down here after the Friday night win and go right to work today. Arenas. It's kept alive underneath, and then Hughes has it rejected, but there's a foul.
Al, Arenas can go by his man at will, whether it's Damon Jones or Dueling. So you know what? He's by his guy. And then once he gets down inside, it comes up again. Can you hit the high percentage shot? Can you make a high percentage shot? Then if you are going to get second shots, which Washington has been able to do consistently, well, then you've got to go strong with the two-handed dunk so that you make sure that you get fouled and you get to the foul line.
San Antonio hosts Seattle. That's the first game of that series. TNT has it tonight at 8 o'clock. Thursday on ESPN, it will be the third game between the Heat and the Wizards. And by that night, it will be the third game between the Spurs and the Sonics. That one in Seattle. Upcoming, as we're down to 8 teams from 16. Round 2 of the NBA playoffs. Keon Dooling is in the game for the first time. Laettner gets it to Mourning.
See, that's that. Anytime that a player posts you up standing on the defensive circle, you know that he's only 3 feet away from the rim. So you would not play behind him. You play behind him in this league, Alonzo and Shaq will just shoot up over the top of you.
Arenas had it blocked by Dooling. Dooling coming off a great series. Then Arenas returns the favor by stealing this one. Tries to go all the way in. And Alonzo Mourning says, no chance, baby. Then Wade takes it back, and he loses it. Racehorse, up and down, crazy basketball right now. And another whistle because he turned the ball over. He palmed it.
See, that's a shame. You had 2 steals, and you come up with a bagel. All right? No points. And that's unfortunate because you had the advantage at both. Now, this is just a great block by Alonzo Mourning. No contact up over the top of Arenas. As you tell players, when you get down in the paint at playoff time, they're coming. It's not like the regular season where they're going to concede the layup.
Eddie Jones missing. Ruffin is in the game. Michael Ruffin, number 51 for the Washington Wizards. Great offensive rebounder.
Washington's got to get Hughes going now. See, that's only his 3rd shot attempt. You've got to get him moving off the dribble in the slashing mode.
Coming up to the final minute of the period. The Wizards have missed their last 10 field goal attempts. Earlier, they were 0 for 7. And a foul here on the way to the basket. So right now, the Washington Wizards, still only down by 5 points, are shooting 19%. The Heat, 53%.
Even if Eddie makes both of these, you look up there and you say, you know what? We're only down 7 if he makes both. Come on, they're getting what they want. They're stealing the ball. They're forcing turnovers. They're getting down inside the paint. Think of all of the shots that Washington has already had in this first quarter below the foul line. Everything is what you want. Now it comes down, the game is still called basketball. You must put it in the hole.
Wizards the other night in Game 6 against Chicago missed 12 in a row. So here's a team that clearly has proven in recent days that they can withstand these long droughts. 22-16, 45 seconds remaining. A lot of traffic underneath. Jamison has it taken away.
Yeah, solid block that time.
Dooling pulls up. Got it.
This is what you like, Al, about the Miami transition game. They finish. They finish and they get good percentage shots at the basket, and they have that mid-range game.
Here's Hughes dropping one down.
I like this guy's talent. He's really blossomed this season. What a year he's had. And the key being now, if he gets hot, Wade must play both ends of the floor. And that will be telling as this series moves on, because Wade's going to play over 40 minutes.
Dooling led all players in field goal percentage in the first round of the playoffs and drops this one in with 6.7. Keon Dooling off the bench.
Plenty of time here now. Plenty of time.
Underneath, off the front of the rim. Looked like he might have been trying to throw it underneath to Thomas or Ruffin, and instead he comes up short. The Wizards shoot 22%. Shaq has 2 fouls, but the Miami Heat trying to win the opening game of this series on top by 8 points as we head to the second quarter in Miami. In Miami, Al Michaels, UB Brown, and Michelle Tafoya. Take a look at the Wizards here. They were outscored. They were out-rebounded. They had a worse field goal percentage, a worse three-point field goal percentage, and worse free throw percentage than their opponents. So they, in all of those categories, they were on the underside. How rare is that? Well, only 2 other teams in the league pulled that off this year. One, Golden State, won 34 games. The other, New Orleans, won 18. So when that happens, you're normally pretty bad. But what made it so that Washington could get to the playoffs and get to the second round, UB? They won 14 games by 3 or fewer points, most in the league.
They do a great job in close games. You're right on it, Al. Plus, as a stat against the West, they're one of the very few teams in the East that had a winning record, 17-13 against the West.
Wade gets fouled on his way in. Gilbert Arenas commits the foul.
This guy is some bundle. What a defensive nightmare he is, because when he makes up his mind, you have to play him tight because of the range factor, but then once he puts it down, the acrobatic moves, and he finishes so well with either hand.
You saw the most improved teams led by Phoenix. They were already in the second round. Washington and Chicago were next, with Washington winning that series in 6 games. Juan Dixon and Anthony Peeler come in. Shaq is still on the bench readjusting that thigh pad, but he has 2 fouls. So Peeler, a longtime veteran, number 8, he has the ball. And over to Ruffin. This is Arenas who stays in the game. Thomas, with Mourning on him, spins on him, puts it in left-handed. Nice.
Oh, that's the advantage of being able to finish with either hand. And you can see he went right into the chest. Big men, once they get into you and they run that spin move, they pin you on their back and they finish right in your face.
Wade picked up by Thomas. That leaves Leitner wide open. He can't catch it. And then it goes off Arenas' leg. Peeler got the rebound, and Gilbert Arenas tried to pick it up and kicked it out of bounds. Here comes Larry Hughes back into the game, and Arenas will get a rest. 27-20 Miami. Winner of this series meeting the winner of the upcoming Detroit Indiana series. Indiana knocking off the Celtics in Boston last night. Game 7. Dooley, fake pass, and then drives all the way in.
I like what they're doing here. They're coming off the screen, and they're saying to Washington, switch. Go ahead and switch, and you will have a big man playing one of our perimeter guys, and we are taking you right to the basket off the dribble.
Dooling already 7 points off the bench. Now Dixon missing from outside. He had 35 against Chicago in Game 4. Jones to Leitner underneath. He leaves it for Mourning, and Mourning was, I think, maybe almost too far under the basket or got out of rhythm, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Miami has nice teamwork up front. Anytime you bring Christian Leitner at the 4 position, you got another guy who passes the ball so well. See, he sees. He could have forced up a shot in that situation. Instead, drop it off to Mourning. You have a potential for a 3-point play if he could make the field goal and go to the foul line.
That foul was on Ruffin.
Stan Van Gundy not happy. Miami has already missed 5 foul shots. Washington 4.
Rasul Butler will come into the game. Make his first appearance. Wade goes out. So for the Miami Heat right now, the only starter still in the game is Eddie Jones. Dixon, who played his college ball in Maryland. Hughes had it knocked away. It's out of bounds, and it will go to Washington with 8 on the 24.
Yeah, Washington gets a break here. Today we have 2 of the top 6 scoring teams in the league. 6 teams scored over 100 points, and both of them are in that category.
Dixon missing, but Thomas is there for the rebound. Thomas has it knocked away. Eton Thomas is now he is a published poet. I know he loved poetry, reading it and writing it, but recently he became published.
Yes, well, congratulations to him. He's a cerebral man, no doubt about it. He's a very tough guy as a front court player. Can play center or power forward for you. He maximizes his minutes.
A little poetry right there off the hand of Hughes to make it an 8-point game.
See, right now, Hughes and Arenas are only 3 for 13 in this game. You know that they're going to pick up the scoring as we move along. Eddie Jones is getting very upset out on the side because Hughes is popping him as Eddie's trying to run without the ball.
Layton all the way to the hoop, and that won't go. Hughes gets fouled. Jackson to come back into the game.
It's easy to say, we're going to get the Miami to miss. We're going to force a turnover, get out in the open floor. Miami's transition defense is as good as any team in this league. Anytime you're coming out here in the early going, you'll see Washington boom out, bam, it's 3-on-3. Boom, it's 4-on-4. They fight back and they get a good defensive position.
Last foul was on Grueling, and then Thomas gets fouled on his way to the basket. Shaquille O'Neal back in the game. Shaq with 9 points and picked up those 2 fouls. This is why Van Gundy put him down for several minutes.
Al, the baseline has been good for Washington. In this first half, anytime that they dribble the basketball on the baseline, they've been able to penetrate, get by the defender, force the trouble team, and then make a pass and get fouled going to the rim.
Thomas misses the first. You can check out NBA TV. They have highlights, press conferences, breaking news, behind-the-scenes action during the entire postseason on NBA TV. Thomas played at Syracuse. Missing both, and then O'Neal last touched it, and it goes out of bounds to the Wizards.
And we still have 9 minutes and 20 seconds to go in this quarter. Already, Washington has missed 6 foul shots. They've been to the line 14 times already. And so they're playing their game. But they get to just take their time, get hot a little bit on the line, and also from the field.
Yeah, from the field just 26%. Less than that now.
Well, it isn't like we're chalking it up to Miami's defense because they are not even close to Washington when they attempt the shot. So it's not the defensive pressure.
Here's Shaq to score and go to the free throw line. You know, I look back to the New Jersey series as well. It's the same thing in a way. If New Jersey, if Kidd and or Carter could have hit for a higher percentage, it might have been a different story.
I agree with that 100%.
And today, Washington hitting just 25%, and thus the Heat out in front, their biggest margin of the game. O'Neal to the line when we come back, 32-22, Miami.
All right, Mike, back here. Miami leading 32-22. On the chalkboard in the Wizards locker room was a note headlined Paint Scores, and it reminded the Wizards of the different ways they could score in the paint. Drives, post-ups, rolls, cuts, and putbacks. But in Miami's locker room, there was a reminder to hold Washington's paint points to less than 35. And the comparison shows right now that Miami is getting the better in the battle of the boards. Points in the paint for Miami, just 8. Or excuse me, for Washington, just 8. Meanwhile, Miami has 24. So they're on target in a big way, Hubie, to hold the Wizards to far fewer than 35 points in the paint.
You're absolutely right, Michelle. They're dominating there, and they're dominating out on the break. Washington is a great fast break team. It's 8-0 on fast break points. Right now, the big 3 for Washington, they've got to get going. Between the 3 of them, they are only 4 for 17 at this juncture in this game.
And one of those 3, Gilbert Arenas, is still on the bench. Arenas was out for only 11 minutes and 35 seconds in the Chicago series. But when he was out, Chicago outscored Washington 31-11. He's out right now, and they've been outscored with that dueling reverse layup 7-2. So when Arenas sits, Washington has a problem. $12-point game. Anthony Theodore, one-time Laker, knows what it's like to play in big games. And underneath, that's taken away. O'Neal comes up with the basketball.
When you play Miami, you cannot make the questionable pass.
Eddie Jones.
Right now, Washington has 7 turnovers. Their baseline defense on the drive, porous right now. Miami taking it to the basket, going up and scoring.
Hughes missing. Here's O'Neal. Quick outlet pass to Dooling. Up. And that's Butler. Rasul Butler didn't play much in the series against New Jersey, but he's been a key man at certain times off the bench for Miami during the regular season. Timeout Eddie Jordan, timeout Washington. Miami with 7.5 to go on top, 39-22.
You're just seeing Miami taking it strong now off the baseline. The group that's in there right now, slow on the rotation. They now come with another guy who was a non-entity in the Jersey series. Everybody can make threes.
The NBA playoffs on ABC next week, and Saturday night in prime time, 8 Eastern time, from Washington will be game 4 in this series. Washington against Miami, and then 3 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday, another conference semifinals game next weekend right here on ABC. The red zone, they call it. Everybody in red. Most everybody. The Washington Wizards. Take a look at that, and you see the field goals, which will add up overall, counting all of the Wizards, 7 out of 29. A terrible 24% from the field. This is Antoine Jamison.
I would like to see them do that more often. Get Jamison down and prove to me that whoever plays him in the matchup, whether it's Anderson or whether it's Eddie Jones, that they can stop him in there. And if they double team, it will open up the slashing move for you off the dribble or the wide open three-point shot.
Here's Wade. As that rejected underneath, Hayward knocked it skyward.
You got to get one now.
Arenas feeds Hughes, and they can't get it, but at least he will go to the free throw line for a pair.
When we came on the top of the telecast, we brought out the point that 3 players for Washington, Arenas, Hughes, and Jamison, during the season averaged 67 points. At the first round of the playoffs with Chicago, they scored 64 points a game. Today, they're struggling. They're 4 for 18, and then 5 turnovers. And we're still at 6 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Now you say, well, you know, they're getting hammered right now. No, they're getting hammered just looking at the score. Coaches look at this and say, are the opportunities there, folks? The opportunities are definitely there, and you do not have to go beyond your game plan.
Hughes hits both. Hughes is the first Wizard in double figures. He has 10. Shaquille O'Neal is the leading scorer in the game. Shaq has 11. And he's played only 11 minutes. Haslam has that stolen, and then Haslam holds Hughes to prevent the breakaway bucket.
I see Hughes right there leading the league in steals during the season. Plays the lane as well as anyone. He lays back with those long arms, shoots the gap. That was a very heady foul, a quick foul. There was no advantage, so you're not going to get the call that would allow you to take the foul and take it onside.
The downside for Miami is that's the 3rd foul on Udonis Haslam. Shandon Anderson is in the game for the Heat. Hughes gets by Wade. Outside Arenas for 3, and they really needed that. Makes it a 10-point game. So from 17 quickly down to 10 as Washington tries to get back into it.
Now they're back into the 2-3 zone again here now. Big thing here is coverage.
Wade lost it behind his back.
Now you have an advantage here.
Hughes stops, pops, doesn't get it. Underneath, Jeffries almost had it, but Anderson comes back for Miami. Anderson from Leitner, Hughes off the glass.
I like what we're seeing here. 0 for 3 against the 2-3 zone. Now they're giving Washington a little breathing room here, but you got to take advantage of it.
Haywood over O'Neal. It's in and out. Washington 2 trips down the court with a chance to cut it back into single figures, but can't. Another steal and an easy bucket coming up for Hughes. Quick hands of the Washington Wizards, and Van Gundy says, I've seen a 17-point lead go to 8. I'm going to take a timeout.
Now this is how Washington plays. They play in great spurts because they have the advantage of forcing turnovers, and they're long, and they can cut away the lane from you not only with their feet and getting the body in front, but with their arms for deflection.
Not true. 9-0 run has Washington back in it within 8. The Verizon Wireless halftime report. A couple of minutes away with Bill Walton, Snapper Jones, and our guest from the Golden State Warriors, Baron Davis. What have you seen so far as Washington's gotten closer here?
They've been able to neutralize Dwayne Wade, keep him out of the lane, and also get some turnovers. And as long as they keep Dwayne Wade out the lane, they got a chance.
As long as they keep making shots, they got a chance. And that's been their big problem for most of the first half. And it's going to turn around, Billy Boy.
It was so easy for Miami in the early going. The Heat fell asleep, and the Wizards have been able to get back into it. But the focus of this Miami squad, the completeness, the nature of that second unit with Alonzo Mourning and Keon Dooley and Christian Laettner, very, very good.
Kids been under a rock. Steve Nash is the MVP, the official announcement. I'll tell you how close the vote was with Shaq and Nash coming up at halftime. Al?
Okay, thank you, Mike. Thank you, guys. Gilbert Arenas, when he's been on the floor today, as you can see, they're up by 2. On the bench, down by 10. We mentioned it earlier. When Arenas was on the bench, they were outscored 12-2 during that stretch. Since he's come back, they have outscored Miami 9-0. They turned a 17-point game into an 8-point game. Jones missing, and the rebound comes off to Jamison.
Now, they're getting wide open looks against this zone. Al, they've been in it now 5 out of the last 6 possessions. And they are not putting any points on the board. So give Eddie Jordan and the staff credit here now. They've changed up on Miami, and they're forcing them to miss, and they're doing something right here.
Jamison all the way. So it was a 17-point game, now a 6-point game. It was 39-22.
Stay in the zone until they prove that they can consistently make some scores against what you're doing.
Jones. Eddie Jones.
When you play zone now, and that's your area, you just made a very bad mistake. Eddie Jones caught the ball in the corner, and he never moved out to close him down. You've got to close down a three-point shooter.
Arenas. 2-point answer, 42-35.
Yeah, I like what's happened now in the last 3 to 4 minutes. The main cogs here now, the big three, Hughes, Arenas, and Jamison are making things happen at the offensive end.
So we get 3 in and out. Miami with the offensive board, but then taken away by Arenas, and it's a 2-on-1. Hughes to Jamison.
There you go. Yeah, I like this. Now, Miami, when Laettner came off with that offensive rebound, that was the first offensive rebound for Miami in this half.
Dwayne Wade, who has been neutralized in this half. Missing here.
What you like is that they continue to hold Miami to 1 shot.
And then a bad pass, a little hook pass. Arenas trying to get it inside to Jeffries. But then they return the favor. Laettner can't handle it.
Arenas got a piece of that, Al. He made it happen, and then Hughes picks up the steal.
Hughes wide open. Too wide open. Had too much time, but gets it back. Still missing. O'Neal with the board.
I tell you what, you could have an ulcer if you're coaching Washington today. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They make things happen so quick, and they get shots.
Wade misses, but there's Shaq.
You want to bring this point up. That's only the second offensive rebound. And that's why they're not buried by now. They've been doing a lot of things wrong, Washington. But at the one end, anytime that Miami has been missing, they've been fortunate. Their high percentage defensive rebounding has been excellent. They've got to keep it up.
Arenas still feeds Jeffries underneath. Then he loses the ball. Good pressure by Miami. minutes remaining, opening half. O'Neal trying to whip it underneath.
Those long arms again. 3-on-2.
Arenas all the way, short. Go to the free throw line.
Al, in the last 4 to 5 minutes, we are seeing what this Washington team is all about. They're extremely athletic, and you can see one of the best transition defensive teams in this league cannot get back as this game is moving on. First quarter, terrific. Second quarter, once we got below 6 minutes, they're having trouble getting back 2-on-1 and 3-on-2s now. This is Washington's game. So if they can continue to hold Miami to one shot and get it out, I mean, this is not an impossible thing that we're looking at here. They could pull it off, but they must shoot a better percentage consistently as we march into the third and fourth quarter.
There's 0 when he came out of the Los Angeles area, went to Arizona. Lute Olson, tremendous program. A lot of folks said he'd play 0 minutes, and so he said, I'm going to wear 0. Well, he's been anything but a 0 here. He makes 2 here, 44 to 39. 17-point lead is now down to 5 with a minute and 45 seconds remaining in the opening half in Miami. Wade had it partially blocked and gets it back. Can't get it to go, but it's tipped back in by Shaq.
Yeah, the big fella's come to life here. The big fella is getting in tight. When the shots are going up, he's moving closer to the rim.
That's Jamison.
Al, they cannot stop this guy on the bounce. He's big. He's got 3 to 4 inches on Eddie Jones, okay? He has the same on Anderson. Whoever picks him up.
Damon Jones.
Now, court awareness. Court awareness. You have to know the three-point shooters. Anytime Damon Jones has the ball, Eddie Jones, you must get up on top of them. They shot over 50% in the first round of the playoffs from 3.
Neither team has a foul to give, and here's a foul right now. Yeah, that's his third. Jamison has 8, Hughes has 4, and Arenas has 7 of the last 19 Washington points. That's all of them, Yubi. The big 3 has come alive since that 17-point deficit.
Well, I think they go in here at halftime now, and they have to feel very good about themselves. And we said the toughest thing in this league is to win Friday night. You got the emotions, you win your series, everybody gets home late. The next day up, practice, and then you have to travel down here to Miami, and then you play an afternoon game. This is no night game now, so it's a short turnaround for you. So yeah, they were a little out of kilter in that first quarter, but I like what we're seeing in the last 6 minutes.
Hayward drops them both. 49-43, Wade. Miami in that 2-for-1 area, missing. Jamison with the rebound. All the way goes Hughes, trying to drop it off to Jeffries, gets a break, but it didn't go out of bounds. Eddie Jones guarding Hughes.
Plenty of time, plenty of time.
6 on the shot clock. Hayward running hook, no. Jamison follows it to make it 49-45 with 8.7 remaining. Miami last possession. And it's an offensive foul. He stuck his arm out, Wade, on the way through. Or Mourning, they're going to call it on Mourning with 2.9 seconds. And a timeout's going to be taken by Washington. They'll have the ball with 2.9 remaining in the half. About an hour before the game, we're sitting there talking to Stan Van Gundy. One of the things he said, I expect a helter-skelter game from the Washington Wizards. He's seen a lot of that today.
Yes, he has. Big thing right now with 2.9 seconds, try to pass the ball forward so that once you make the catch, you have at least 2 dribbles. You can get 2 dribbles off, Al, and if you get over half court, a decent percentage shot here.
Can they make it a 2 or even a 1-point game? Pass to Arenas.
How about it?
Wow.
Great play. They passed opposite, diagonal. Beautiful play coming out of that huddle.
25-10 to close out the quarter. So the Washington Wizards, who you would think would be just happy to be here with no rest and all of the rest, down by 17, have made it a ball game.
Now, see, Arenas came out from the opposite side of the floor. The most dangerous guy in this situation is the deepest guy. The man on the opposite side, 50 feet away from the passer. But as long as he's moving, you cannot get hurt, because even if the pass doesn't work, so what? The ball is intercepted. They cannot make a long-distance shot.
What happened to the Heat? Here's Michelle with Eddie Jones.
All right, Al, thanks. Eddie, you guys led by 17. Now it's down to 2. What happened?
I mean, we've been careless with the basketball. Whenever we turn the ball over a lot, we're in a tight game. We got to learn to have a 17-point lead and come down to get whatever we want. We're playing really dumb basketball right now.
And their 2-3 zone seems to be bothering you guys on your offensive end. How do you answer that?
Well, I don't think it's really bothering. I just think we're turning the ball over before we even get the ball over half court.
How confident are you can turn this around the second half?
I mean, we have to. It's not. Right now, it's do or die. We got to go out and get our composure back and come back in the second half and take over the game.
Eddie, thanks.
Thank you.
Al?
Thank you, Michelle. Mike Tirico, Bill Walton, Steve Jones, and Baron Davis are in New York with the Verizon Wireless Halftime Report. Ahmad Rashad will have a feature piece on Alonzo Mourning. Live interview with the league's MVP, Steve Nash, of the Phoenix Suns. So the Miami Heat apparently on their way to a rout, and then all of a sudden, Washington had other ideas. It's a ball game at the half. Miami 49, Washington 47. Back in Miami, Al Michaels, Hubie Brown, Michelle Tafoya, as we get ready for the start of the third quarter in Game 1. The Wizards trailing the Heat 49-47. First half stats presented by Nokia. Washington couldn't hit anything in the first quarter, 22%, but got hot in the second to turn a 17-point deficit into a 2-point deficit. They've been to the free throw line twice as much. The Miami bench has outscored the Washington bench 17-2, and 10 steals, including 6 by Hughes for Washington. So, Hubie, what does this portend for favor?
No, I like what I'm seeing. I'm rooting for Washington. I'm happy. My team has gotten to the foul line 20 times. They have forced 10 steals, 12 turnovers. My main 3 guys are in sync now. All 3 of them are in double figures. And if you really think about it, the zone has been perfect. Changing defense has caused a monster problem for Miami.
There's the big 3. It's Arenas, by the way. Arenas has those 6 steals. Hughes led the league in steals per game this year. He has 2, but 10 total. And the numbers as those 3 guys really came on after a timeout was called with a 17-point Miami lead.
No, I like what I'm saying. They never gave up. Washington's playing their game. Miami has got to start to pay attention. Right now, Wade is struggling. He's 2 for 9 from the floor, and he also has 4 turnovers. They must get Wade into the game. And also, like Eddie Jones talked about with Michelle, and that is they got to start paying attention here. This team is definitely a transition ball club that they're playing. They have us out of our game. We have got to focus in and especially solve this zone.
Crowd settling back in. Let's check into with Michelle as the second half begins.
I just spoke with Eddie Jordan, the head coach of the Washington Wizards. He said the 3 things that we did in that run to come back were the things we've been doing all season. Creating turnovers, getting on the offensive glass, and getting to the free throw line. And unlike Eddie Jones, Eddie Jordan thinks that they really did a good job of forcing a lot of those turnovers, not just Miami spitting them up.
Second chance for Haslam after the Damon Jones miss. And it's his first 2 points of the game, Udonis Haslam.
Now they need him on the floor, not only for this rebounding, but his opportunity. He gets to the offensive glass and he scores. And that's a big thing which they were missing in that first half.
Here's Haywood going to the basket and getting fouled. A little pass from Jamison on the way. And Haywood, who's done a pretty good job, all things considered, even though Shaquille O'Neal today has scored 15 points, goes to the free throw line.
Well, they're leaving him on an alley now. And any time that you play Shaq one-on-one, you know that is not to your advantage. Now, I would just say to Haywood, listen, you and Jeffrey move well without the ball because our 3 perimeter guys are proving that they can get into the paint off the dribble.
You say pretty good job. Pretty good job in the sense that he's very rarely needed help. And again, it's just one-on-one this time, and Shaq misses.
Now that to me is a tough call. The shot goes up. Your defender puts a body on the man. Just keep an eye. See Jeffrey's bluff. Now watch to the left of your screen. See, he's in there. He's blocking his man out. He did not deliberately undercut the offensive rebound. That was just good basketball. Put your body on a guy and get him out of there.
But that was the call, and that's why they have it back, and that's why Damon Jones has an opportunity for a three.
That's inexcusable. You know Jones has a bad foot. You know that the heel is bothering me, and he's limited in his strike. So every time he catches the ball, you must be shirt to shirt with this guy.
Arena sets up behind the arc. Haslam with the rebound. Damon Jones Shaq fights for the rebound. Loose ball. Arenas, can he save it? No, Miami ball.
The Shaq is very active today, Al. Once we got into the second quarter on the offensive boards, he's starting to make his presence felt. Now that is the third one that he has kept alive here.
Here's Eddie Jones making it. Shaq, of course, bothered by the bruised thigh at the end of the regular season. Bruised the other one against New Jersey. Graded himself an F for the early games in the New Jersey series. And frankly, Miami was able to win it with, relatively speaking, some minimal help from Shaquille in that series, because all of the other guys came off the bench and played was spectacular.
That was a pretty move. The execution was beautiful, except he missed the shot.
And there's Damon Jones sitting on the other end, and it's an 8-point game now.
Yeah, I like the timeout. Very good. Call it. End it quick. Don't end this game today and have 4 or 5 timeouts left in your bag. Call them now. Stop the run.
Heat by 8.
Happy Mother's Day to my wife and to my mom. You know, 2 of the 5 great women in my life, along with my 3 daughters.
And there are the proud parents, Cindy Van Gundy, Stan's mother, of course, Jeff's mother, Bill Van Gundy, a coach in his own right. I hope Jeff had enough left to buy a Mother's Day gift after that fine last week. $100,000. Who knows what's to come after that, and what a week it's been for Jeff Van Gundy. And the team gets blown out last night in Game 7 by 40 points. The Stan's ball club right now is up by 8 as Haslam has the rebound for Miami.
While you're watching Washington play, remember we say sometimes they'll force up some low percentage shots, but it's the way they play, and their guys are freewheeling.
O'Neal gets fouled.
I like Shaq's game today. Once he came back in after accumulating 2 fouls early. He's been very active on the glass. Anytime they hit him in the post, he's coming in for this hook because Haywood is 7 foot and he's big body. So Shaq's got to get up over the top.
3 fouls on Haywood. Shaq involved this week in a little long-distance contest with Jerry Buss, the Laker owner, did a press conference, said that if he'd have known Shaq would have lost 60 pounds, and he was overstating that a little bit, I think Shaq may have lost maybe 30, that maybe he wouldn't have made the deal, and Shaq was motivated by it, and Shaq took umbrage at that and said, I'm playing for a better owner right now, and Mickey Arison. So it was a long-distance deal with the emphasis on this. Fills space, fills airtime. Arenas puts it in.
I love that low box today. Anytime Washington is post up, whether it's Arenas, whether it's Jameson, left low box, excellent. Now they're in the zone right now. They're in a 2-3 zone. Once again, let's see if Miami will come out with better movement.
Eddie Jones inside. Shaq gets doubled. Freeze Wade, 3. Wayne's off his game today.
You're absolutely right, Al. He's 2 for 10 and struggling. He said it's complicated also because of the turnovers.
Jones to the hoop. Has it blocked and gets fouled. We call that one on Shaquille. Yep, and that's 4 fouls on the big man.
That's the way to go. That's your game plan. You're the slashers. You know that Hughes, Jamison, and Arenas can blow by their guys. Now it's a matter of Shaq and Haslam moving over. Also attack Haslam. Haslam has 3 also. Now, we said at the top, we have the 1 and 2 in the league in foul shot attempts at 30 apiece. And it's a fraction in the favor of Washington to garner the #1 post. Already today in this game, they are going to be attempting right now 23 foul shot attempts, and we still have 8 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
They've made 16 of the prior 22. Hughes makes this one, now has 14 points, and he is 8 of 8 from the stripe. 60-54, the Heat up by a half dozen.
Sometimes they're in man-to-man, and they play in man-to-man and they switch. Sometimes they're in a solid 2-3 zone, and they play zone principle.
Wade with only his 3rd field goal, and that's 7 points for Dwayne Wade. Hayward off the glass.
Wow. Now, he definitely tried to bank that shot in, but that is a very tough angle to bank the ball in.
Hayward with 10 points in the game. He averaged less than 7 during the regular season. Damon Jones missing the 3, and Hayward off the glass.
Look up. Here we go.
Hughes drives, puts it in, right by Damon Jones.
Every time that Arenas and Hughes catch the ball in the open floor and Damon Jones is matched up, you must take him quick off the dribble. You know he's not practicing. You know he has an injured heel, and there's no way he can stay with you after 2 dribbles.
Steal again. Arenas down the middle.
Give it up.
Should have given it up. Jones fouls him.
See, in that situation, give the ball up quick, make the defender commit to the ball, and then you will get the ball back for an uncontested layup.
Hughes goes to the line.
And just keep an eye on this now. So you have a 2-on-1. Give it up early and then get it back. Now, Damon Jones never moved when people want to charge, but he catches him with his elbow and also his right shoulder.
Arenas played 2 seasons with the Warriors. Larry Hughes played 2.5 seasons with the Warriors. Antoine Jamison, 5 seasons. So you look at Golden State, their big 3 guys at Washington all came from, it sort of reminds me a little bit of Detroit last year when you had Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, and Richard Hamilton at different times. They had all played with Washington.
Are you trying to say that that's the reason why they had a 17-13 winning record against the West?
Not in a million years. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
And we're catching it. No, it's a good point.
Here's Wade missing Haslam underneath, and then Jeffries almost stole it. The quick hands, but couldn't stop it from going out of bounds.
Haslam is a really active offensive board guy. And we're talking about banging around, sacrificing his body. That was missing in the first half. Because he was in foul trouble, he played less than 8 minutes.
Haslam. Jump hook. Nice play. Quickly down the court. This will be a 3 if it goes. It doesn't for Jamison. Miami will run it. Wade. Oh, what a move by Jeffries.
Now that was pretty. From Wade to evade, the defender in that situation was almost amazing. A great sidestep. Watch this now. And then as he comes up, the presence to lay it in with the soft touch.
American Airlines Arena in Miami, where the capacity is 20,000, and they sold out most of the games this season. And that will happen when your franchise goes out and signs the most dominant player, a player that Jerry West says distorts the game. There he is, Shaquille O'Neal. He's on the bench right now with 4 fouls. Finished second in the MVP voting, as you know. Steve Nash winning it. Phoenix getting ready to meet Dallas in their second-round action that starts Monday. And getting hit was Jamison. Jones hit him and knocked him down for the foul.
Jamison has been posted. That was his 4th time. Eddie Jones is getting caught behind Jamison. Jamison was 3 for 3 early in the game, and now he picks up a foul on Eddie Jones. Miami has not shown that they can stop that, whether they run Jamison to that box or Arenas. And Arenas versus Damon Jones. That's something that you know you have in your pocket so that you can go to.
Third foul on Eddie Jones. As you see, Washington a little bit of a run here. That was the case in the first half. They were down by 17, got it to within 2. Miami started out hot here in the third quarter, but Washington is not going to die. Wade.
He's stepping it up right now. He's looking to score. In the first half, he was rather passive, going 2 for 9. Now he's out here, and he is really looking to go to the hole.
That's blocked by Mourning, but it goes right back into the hands of Jeffries for the 2-pointer.
Alonzo Mourning, twice, 2 times, Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA. Even after his illness, he is showing that he can rebound and block shots.
Haslam scrambles for it. Out of bounds it goes.
Good call. Yeah, Dick Rivetta was right on top of that. That was a good call.
Housekeeping before Rivetta hands it to Jeffries to inbound. 7-point game. Game 1, game 2's here on Tuesday. Third game Thursday, ABC. Fourth game Saturday night on ABC. In DC, and travel.
Now that was a poor turnover, mainly because of the fact that Jamison was on the wing. The pass was to go to Jamison. Jamison never moved. Now right now, Jamison is tired. There's no doubt about it. I was watching him on the previous timeout. He's sweating profusely, and also he's really grasping for air.
Wade can't get it to drop. 4.5 remaining in the third quarter. An offensive foul away from the ball on Haywood.
Yeah, they caught it down on the baseline. They were setting a screen to run Hughes off the screen.
That's 4 on him.
Yeah, he's had an excellent game. When you think of the fact that Shaq, every minute that he's been on the floor, basically it was getting single coverage with Haywood. Now it's up to Eton Thomas to come in here now and make something happen. He can score the ball a little bit better than Haywood.
And Thomas comes in and immediately commits a foul. He's played 9 minutes with 2 points to this point. Eddie Jones is over the line. Juan Dixon's going to come into the game for Washington. And we can tell you in terms of what's upcoming tonight on TNT. That's game 1 of the series from San Antonio as Seattle meets the Spurs. And then ESPN on Thursday, that doubleheader, Heat Wizards, which would be the 3rd game in Washington. Spurs Sonics, 3rd game there for them, and that would be in Seattle Thursday.
If you're coaching Washington, you're concerned right now with a fatigue factor. And that's why we bring up the point. You close out a series, very difficult, and the last 2 games were really high-energy efforts by Washington in defeating Chicago. Then, late night out, the rest period, travel day, and you're playing an early afternoon ball game.
Arenas, and that's blocked by Mourning. Old ball.
You got to fight him here.
Wade leaves the break. Underneath, Eddie Jones.
Now, this is a time period right now for the coaching staff of Washington. You must be careful. You cannot let it get away from you.
Jameson, good tight defense. Jeffries will go through the lane, tries to jam it, can't. Foul on Mourning.
Now that was just a terrific attack at the rim by Jeffries. He just challenged Mourning. Now just keep an eye on this and watch Mourning come over and get the block. Now that was beautifully executed by Mourning. Now just keep an eye on it. See, Mourning is inside. That is a definite foul. He was inside. He was looking for possibly a charge, but he also thought that he had it clean. He did not get it clean. There was definite contact. Plus, he was inside of the defensive circle.
It's also Mourning's third foul. Jeffries goes to the line, so Mourning has 3. Shaq has 4. And we still have 15 minutes and 27 seconds to play in the game.
That's why I like the game plan. You go to your strength. The strengths of Washington off the dribble. Jeffries at the 4 position puts it down, as well as the 3 perimeter players. So they're constantly challenging your defensive rotation. And it's difficult to get clean blocks every time.
Jeffries makes it 71-63. Wade now with 11 points in the game, guarded by Juan Dixon. Thomas picks him up, but not for long, and Dwayne buries one.
Now, if you're going to switch, and that's what Washington has been doing, they switch out on that. Well, now Wade has your defensive center in a one-on-one situation, much to his advantage.
Stepped on the baseline to Jeffries. 2:56 remaining in the third. Wade has come alive.
Now see the switch. There's the switch and the mismatch right there. A good offensive player will make that move, step back, and get the jumper at will.
Every night your line is busy.
Back in Miami, Heat up by 10, 73-63. Well, for Washington, Larry Hughes says he recognizes his mom, Vanessa, not only on Mother's Day, but on Father's Day, because she raised him and his little brother, Justin, who's sitting here today. Justin is now 19 years old. When he was 11, he had a heart transplant. And so Larry's mom, Vanessa, by herself raised these 2 kids. Larry stayed close to home, went to the University of St. Louis for college, left after a year so he could financially contribute. And now he is a big supporter of organ donation thanks to the success of Justin's transplant. But he wanted me to give a shout out to Vanessa, and she'll hear it again on Father's Day, guys.
Oh, that's great. And you and I join in a great story. And again, a happy Mother's Day to all the great moms in the audience today. 10-point lead for the Miami Heat after that last timeout. Here goes Wade. He's going to dish it back to Haslam. And Haslam puts it in from inside the foul line.
Now Wade is feeling it. In the first half he struggled. We told you 2 for 9. He's 4 for 7. And now they're giving him the ball. Many opportunities right at the top of the circle. Get him involved, make things happen.
End of the game where Shaq's on the bench a lot with his 4 fouls. Mourning in there right now with 3 fouls. Arenas missing. And the Heat, Eddie Jones, can he get the rebound? Yep, because it was dropped on the baseline by Hughes. And Jeffries is going to come out of the game. Michael Ruffin comes in.
They like what Ruffin has been able to contribute. Very tough rebounder, good defender, physical guy in the painted area. He's matched up with Haslam.
Wade, he's going to feed Alonzo inside. Gets it back, second chance opportunity, scores, gets fouled.
Let's think back to the first half. Miami comes out of the first half. 0 offensive rebounds in the first quarter, and they only had 1 up into the last minute or so. But if you go in this third quarter, more active, they're making things happen right now. Mourning is picked up for where Shaq has demonstrated that they can get to the offensive glass.
No 3-point play. A 14-point lead. Biggest margin of the game was 17. And that's when Washington went on its run to make it a 2-point game at halftime.
Yeah, he just ran a back screen for Dixon, but he did not open up.
Thomas has trouble, gets it back, and gets fouled. That's Mourning, and that's 4. So each of the big men have 4 fouls now. Each of the Miami big men.
Keep attacking. Keep attacking. You know that you play in runs. And we have seen it today. Just have a lot of faith in the fact that your 3 subs off the bench, if you're Washington, will get Arenas and then use going in the open floor. But in order to do that, you must hold Miami to 1 shot attempt.
So Doliak getting ready to come back into the game. First of 2 is dropped by Thomas. Desperate Housewives tonight. There's 3 episodes remaining, and you'll see it right here on ABC, coming your way tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern and Pacific, 8 o'clock Central and Mountain. One of 2 for Etan Thomas. Keon Dooling back in for Miami. He's seeing his first postseason action this year. Played 4 seasons with the Los Angeles Clippers. Now Wade, and Wade gets hammered by Ruffin as he tries to put it up left-handed.
Right now, Wade is saying, I'm going to put up numbers on this board. He's coming off the pick and roll, and he knows they're going to switch, but then he is just splitting, and he's taking that defender right to the rim, forcing baseline rotation. And it's very difficult to block this young man's shot cleanly once he is inside the paint. Great body control, upper body strength, and he can finish with either hand.
Wade, the only one of the 464 players who appeared in an NBA game this year to have played at Marquette. Dwayne Wade. Arenas. Thomas underneath. Got it back. Missed it again. Missed from both sides. Miami ball took him down to a minute. Underneath. Beautiful pass. Paid off by Haslam.
Miami plays 48 minutes. They play bread and butter basketball. They hang in there. You might jab them and knock them down. But the old story is you got to win the war. And in this building, they are very, very tough.
Great home record, as you might suspect. And Wade gets fouled. So Dwayne Wade, pretty silent in the first half, but a nice third quarter. A third quarter in which the Heat right now have outscored Washington 32-17. They were just dueling. Beautiful blind pass.
See, they're moving. They continue to move, run their offense. They're running excellent screens. They're penetrating off the dribble, and then they always make the extra pass. So what they do is they get into your face, and then they will force you to fatigue. As soon as fatigue enters into you defensively, now they're splitting all of your trapping or switching, whatever you're doing, out on the wings.
Was that Jameson who was covering his head and looked like his knee is wrapped? Get a report on that.
Well, believe me, Al, he was laboring in the middle of this quarter. There was no doubt about it. He was gasping, and they needed him because he was having such a beautiful 12-minute period from the middle of that second period into the third.
Well, he's laboring on the bench right now. Miami final possession. Shot clock and game clock about even. Doliak gets it back, loses it, and then a timeout is called. So Wade is able to save it. Called a timeout with 2.2 seconds remaining. 20 seconds. Given the final possession.
Now Wade definitely got pinged on his left thigh, Al. You have to watch that closely when he went down on the floor in this left corner.
No question that, I mean, how the guys are physically, and we'll take a look at Wade right there. And we talked about Damon Jones and how little practice he can see, and Shaq with the thighs, and then you've got Anton Jamison, I mean, with Dallas, Keith Van Horn. I mean, the injuries, the attrition come into place. In the meantime, what about the first round of what's your overview on what took place in the in the round of 16, getting to the round of 8. How about those 2 games last night, the 2 Game 7 blowouts?
Well, it was kind of surprising. You would think that in a doubleheader that we had, you would think that basketball would have been played to its highest potential. The games would have been close. Instead, a blowout in Boston and then also a blowout in Dallas. Now, I just do not think that there were any major surprises because the favorites out west all got it done, even though you knew going in that nobody would have been shocked if there were some upset. Here in the East, you have to give a lot of credit to Indiana and their coaching staff rallying their ball club with all of the problems that they've had during the course of the season. Players missing 35 games or more, 4 key guys, no Ron Artest, and here you are in the second round of the playoffs.
Doing it on the road, and they'll meet Detroit. Hayward's going to come out. Dixon's going to come in with 2.2 seconds remaining in the third quarter. It's an 18-point game. It's Miami's biggest lead, and Wade will inbound. Wade looking inside, then outside, then anywhere right now. And it's Butler. And Rasul Butler can't get it to go, and that will end the period. But a big period for Miami. They outscore the Wizards 33-17, turn a 2-point game into an 18-point game. 11 points in the period for Dwayne Wade. So we played 3 in game 1 of this best of 7. Miami leading Washington 82-64. And this presentation of the NBA playoffs on ABC resumes after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Al Michaels with UB Brown and Michelle Tafoya. Welcome to the fourth quarter in Miami. Today's storyline presented by Citi. Miami 53% and Washington is 36. Wade had a big third quarter with 11 points to spark Miami. Shaq is 17 points but 4 fouls. O'Neal's only played a total of 21 minutes, and Miami a 20-5 run to turn a tight game into an 18-point game at the end of the third quarter. Fourth period begins in game 1. Teams will meet again here on Tuesday and then go to Washington for 3 and 4 on Thursday and Saturday. Juan Dixon. Over to Arenas.
With this group out on the floor, you know that Hughes, Arenas, and Dixon are the main people. They're playing Hughes up the front. Still, he's matched up with Wade. And then they're playing Arenas, believe it or not, out on Butler.
Foul here as Wade has it go off his foot.
Yeah, Eddie Jordan right there. He thought that there was a travel. He did not think that his man tripped and picked up the foul. You can see Dick Bavetta staring him off.
Yeah. Michelle, what'd you check out during the break there?
Well, Antoine Jamison is available to return, guys. He's having some discomfort in that right knee, which has had some tendonitis issues this season. But the training staff all agrees he is available to come back. QB, as far as being sick or anything like that, I spoke to him at length before the game. He was just fine. So he's in some discomfort because of that right knee tendonitis, but they are expecting him to play.
Yeah, well, you could see that he was laboring. There was no doubt about it. He was walking gingerly, and he was sweating profusely. So I'm just happy that he doesn't have an illness, but let's hope that the knee holds up.
He's played 30 minutes. He has 13 points. Arenas is the leading scorer with 18. Hughes has 16. And Hughes is 8 of 8 from the free throw line, and it's his first miss.
You just cannot fall asleep if you're Miami. This is a team, we know that Washington will play in spurts. They can make things happen quickly. With Dixon in there, it gives them another three-point shooter that you must worry about.
84-68. The Heat, anytime in the fourth quarter when leading by 10 or more points, perfect. 46-0 during the regular season. 3-0 in the playoffs.
Now they're playing 2-3. They switch everything. The only difference between the first and second half is the fact that they've been not allowing they have not been able to stop Miami from getting second shot attempts.
Arenas goes to the basket and scores, and he gets fouled.
They make it look easy, don't they?
Yes, they do.
I mean, they just have a number of performers who can break you down. And remember, they're doing this to an excellent team defensive ball club.
I think I said Arenas. It was Hughes going into the basket, and Haslam fouled him. His fourth foul, so 4 on O'Neal, 4 on Mourning. 4 now on Udonis Haslam. But despite all that, it's a 13-point lead for the Miami Heat. Jack's going to come back into the game with the next whistle. Keon Dooling.
Bad coverage. They're in a 2-3 zone, but the back corner man fell asleep and came into the lane area, opening up the corner. Give Miami credit. They saw the free man, got it, but you still have to put the ball in the basket.
Keon Dooling has been on fire in the playoffs. He is 5 for 5 today. As Hughes misses here, and Goliath gets the rebound. He's 20 for 26. It's the man with the ball right now. Keon Dooling, 4 years with the Clippers. You talk about an X factor. And Wade will go to the basket, but that won't count. Foul before the shot.
Well, the young man came into this series shooting 72% versus New Jersey. Just played great, coming off, gave them tons of explosion in the first half tonight. 4 for 4, just continuing on his way.
And on Mother's Day, it is Keon Dooling's 25th birthday. So happy birthday to Keon Dooling, who clearly has been one of those X factors for the Miami Heat. Back in the game. Here's Dooling again, spotting up for a 3. Finally missed one, but O'Neal is there. Dooling returns it. Shaq has it contested. Washington ball. Can the Wizards make a run? Under 10 to play. Arena sends it back outside. And then after getting it back, misses, and O'Neal gets the rebound.
Now, you just don't want to get carried away thinking that you must shoot threes to shoot yourself back into the game, because you know that you can get into the paint. You've proved it time and time again. So if you're going to look for your way to get back, the easiest way is to get to the rim. Shaq has got 4. Anything can happen if you break down that Miami defense. Just do not settle for the perimeter game from now to the end in the last 9 minutes.
Arenas with a foul. He couldn't help himself as he fell over Dooling in midcourt. And Shaquille O'Neal gets tied up and fouled by Hayward.
Well, you can see Hayward's trying to hold him out. There's no doubt about it. Shaq made the quick move right into him. That's the move that Shaq was complaining about in the first half to Dick Pavetta.
It's 5 on Hayward. Timeout. 8:58 remaining in the fourth quarter. Game 1 in Miami. Heat on top. 87-71. A Mother's Day is never done. What a shot. That's great. All right, time now for Cooler Talk. You'll be presented by Gatorade. Dwayne Wade. Big difference today in the first half and the second half.
Well, you see in the second half, Valley, 5 for 8, making things happen. His assists are already up to 7, and you know now that he is stepping up the game.
Wayne with his little personal greeting right there as we resume action with under 9 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Miami is up by 16.
Now Hayward is in the game with 5 fouls, but they're going to stay with him once again. Who is this guy? On his birthday, boy, he's lighting this place up.
Unbelievable. And that's Butler with a 3 to make it a 19-point game. And you see Jameson, and we've been talking about that knee, and clearly in some pain right now.
Absolutely. You know, the situation right now, you have 8.5 to go. You know, you're down 19. You cannot afford to have this guy injured, especially since you're coming right back with only within a couple of days.
Anthony Fielder's coming into the next pitch. And Shaq commits his 5th foul, throws the elbow, and makes roadkill out of Hayward.
Well, Shaq was determined. He was determined because of the previous play down in the painted area that he was going in here right there. It's a little bit like bowling. Or some people might call it a little bit like rugby.
Yeah. So he only knocked that 8 of the 10 pins on that one.
That's right.
Anthony Fielder's in the game. Hayward now. Shaq comes out. Mourning's back in for Miami.
In the second half, the closing out by Miami has been absolutely terrific.
So that's a sight that's not something that any Washington Wizards fan is going to be too excited about right now, especially beginning of a series, coming out, limping off, limited play here in the second half. It's too key a guy to miss any part of the series.
Well, he's the only player who had a solid first half, and he was right in the middle of the rally that brought them back.
Mourning. Turnaround. Got it. Get in again.
Miami just keeps coming at you with a ton of people who can score. In that New Jersey series in the first round, 4 people averaged between 16 and 26 points. Then you had the bench guys, Dooling and Mourning, also getting 9 apiece. So they come at you with a lot of cannons.
Arenas on the follow. And you think back to the beginning of the season, even after the O'Neal trade was made, you think about the Heat, and everybody knew, of course, you got Shaq, and Wade was the emerging star, but then you wondered about the guys like Haslam. You wondered if Eddie Jones was getting a little too old. They bring in Damon Jones at journeyman to kind of to run the ship, to be the point guy. You bring in a guy like Dooling from the Clippers. There was a lot of question about the other guys and about the bench, and yet here in the playoffs, the other guys and the bench have been great.
Well, I thought all along during the course of the year that their bench was outstanding. And at that time, Doliak was a major piece before the Mourning acquisition. And now Doliak, he gets very few minutes. Now, we saw him play today for a couple here in the second half. But when you consider that they can put up the points the way they have, and then the Jones boys exploding with high percentage three-point shooting, especially in the first round where both guys shoot over 50%, and they're taking 8 and 6 three-point attempts a game. I mean, that's monster stats, Al. And that's why they're playing with a great degree of confidence. Yeah, you might break them down in that, but they give you 48 minutes of closeout basketball, and they're in your face.
And it's almost the whole bench. Everybody seems to have had his moment. That's an offensive foul, and Haslam throws the ball high in the air, and where's it going to come down? And it come down to the referee's head, it would have been a technical. That's his fifth foul.
Well, I think you brought a good point up, Al, about the bench, because it's not only Dooling and Mourning. It was Leitner and Doliak for a lot of the year. Then Anderson and Butler, giving them major minutes and major points anytime that they had injuries or foul trouble with that first unit. And then the first unit has just blended together beautifully.
And then you bring Mourning in, and then it enables Shaq to rest a little bit. It gives you a little bit of insurance. And Shaq is the percentage he was in the Jersey series. Off the glass, on Gilbert Arena. So it seems as if Pat Riley and Stan Van Gundy right now have all of the parts. They're meshing very nicely. They figure to win the series. They're heavily favored to do so. And then it becomes a Miami against Detroit, Indiana situation, the way most people would look at it right now. Most people, of course, thinking it would be Detroit. As huge 6-8 three-pointer. But who knows?
That's correct. You're coaching Washington. You say, hey, listen, we had a short turnaround. We're going to have a couple days here, chance to rest up, practice, get a new game plan, tinker up in the chess match.
Who knows after the Kentucky Derby? Who knows anything? You got to spend a good part of the week in Louisville. Not really Kentucky Derby related business, but a little anniversary for your Kentucky Colonels, the ABA 1975 champions. And there you were, my man.
Well, I tell you, that was a great team, Al. Artis Gilmore, Dan Issel, Louis Dampier. Our second unit was almost as good as our first unit. They could play fast, they could play slow, they had the power game. And then the city of Louisville for 4 days, absolutely magnificent, warm reception, and I'm happy for the team because when you kind of get lost when you say 30 years ago, Al, you know, and it's just nice to catch up with everyone in a one-on-one basis.
Yeah, and you were telling me you ran into our pal Bob Costas, who was doing the race for NBC. Bob was an ABA announcer with the Spirits. He got his broadcasting IT for the Spirits of St. Louis.
That's exactly right. It was my first year, 75. That was Bob Costas' first year. And he was doing the Spirits in that big barn that's had 20,000 people. And they had a cast of characters and outstanding players on that team.
And my pal Marty Brenneman, who succeeded me as the voice of the Cincinnati Reds 100 years ago, he was the voice of the Virginia Squires in those years as well.
Are we resurrecting guys?
That's enough of that. Next up, Harry Gallatin and Sweetwater Clifton's careers will be reminisced. 94-78, Miami is up by 16. 5:20 remaining, fourth quarter. Arenas launching. And the Miami Heat with a comfortable lead here can think ahead very shortly to Game 2 on Tuesday night. Best record in the Eastern Conference, which would mean they will have as Dooling launches one and hits again. Keon Dooling, they will have home court advantage against anybody in the East, but if they get to the finals, they will not have home court against either Phoenix or San Antonio.
And that could be big. No doubt about it, because they played so well in this building. 35-6 there in the regular season, 2-0 in the first round, and are on their way for a win here. But you like their consistency offensively, Al. Average 109 a game in that first round with New Jersey. They're going to go over 100 again for the 5th straight game in the playoffs. Also, shooting up over 50% in the first round, shooting over 50% today.
Shaq on a turnaround gets it to drop. 99-78. Let's check in with Michelle for an update on Jamison.
Antoine Jamison is done for the day. Not surprising since he went into the locker room. But all that the staff of the Washington Wizards is telling us right now is that that knee is sore. Maybe after the game or after he's had some x-rays or an MRI, not that those are scheduled, they'll have more. But right now they're saying just a sore knee keeping him out of the rest of this game, guys.
And that was really evident, especially as the game moved on today. After it was pretty hot in the first half, played very sparingly in the second half. And so the 50-year-old Eddie Jordan will have a lot to think about over the next 48 hours if number 4 can't do it on Tuesday night.
Well, we said coming in that the big three, Jamison, Hughes, and Arenas, averaged 67 points a game during the season. Then in the first round, they averaged 64. Now today, believe it or not, in spite of them struggling, and the fact that Jamison has not been able to play, they were already at 58. Now that was a major shot with Jamison not being able to show you his offensive game in the middle of that third quarter on to give this team some life, some energy. They needed him because he's the type of guy that can give that to you, especially running and down in the box area.
Shaquille O'Neal fouling out, and for Shaq in the game today, he played only 25 minutes, but he did go 8 out of 12 from the field. He wound up with 19 points and 7 rebounds. Meanwhile, Steve Blake comes in for Washington. Maryland product. He'll finish this one out with 3.5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter.
now you want other guys to get some work. You want your second unit, the Washington guys, get some work out here, get the rust out, get the feel of the building, and then also get the feel of what Miami is doing defensively. For Miami, you're looking at this, you want your guys to play together, run the plays the way we want them. And it's kind of interesting that Wade is still out on the floor with this group.
Yeah. Damon Jones on the bench. Jones was a big star in Game 1 against New Jersey that was played 2 weeks ago. Today, 10 points for Damon Jones. The other Jones Eddie with 12 points. Good balanced scoring for Miami. Shaq 19, Wade 18, doing 15. Eddie Jones a dozen.
That's what I said. They are not playing with water pistols. They come in here with cannon. They have a number of guys who can score the ball.
It's a good ball club.
New Jersey, though, you have to step back from this and say, hey, listen, we stick to our game plan. We make our foul shots. We can cause a lot of trouble with our defense. Now the whole key now is Jamison must be healthy here now. We understand that.
For Washington to get back in it. Get back into the series.
Well, you come down here, you're on the road, you want to get that split. But then again, you know, it's going to be difficult for Washington. You go down 2, well, then you got to take care of business when you go home. 2 games during the regular season that were played in Washington were contested right down to the last couple of minutes. So there's going to be high energy once this series shifts and goes back up north.
These teams haven't faced each other since the 15th of December, so it's been almost 5 months. Washington swept the season series. Ruffin has fouled out. Profit comes in, Wade at the line, and we can tell you that you can log on to NBAstore.com for official playoffs merchandise. NBAstore.com. 101 points for the Miami Heat to go into triple figures. Lead by 20. Under 3 to play in the 4th quarter. And Wade walked.
Solid call. Greg the foot. The Miami gets up out on those wings, Al, and they do not allow a direct pass.
Teams winning Game 1, postseason history in the conference semis, which these are, the series is, let's put it that way. 81% of the time, team winning Game 1 wins the series. 82% overall. So in other words, about 4 times in every 5 series does the team winning Game 1 go on to win it all. Win that series. The definition of winning it all in the conference semis is you get to the conference finals. Dueling missing, where the winner of this series is going to meet the winner of the Detroit-Indiana series.
We talk about the defense of Miami being consistent over 48 minutes. Well, they were the 4th best in field goal percentage against during the season. New Jersey, they shot 39% against them in 4 games. Today, they are holding Washington at 36%. This is a team that came in, averaged over 100 during the regular season, scored 104 in the Chicago series, and today they are struggling right now with 81 points.
And Yubi, you don't have to watch a lot of basketball to know that when a team shoots 52% and the other guys shoot 36%, about 86% of the time, I'm just making this up right now, but about 15, maybe 17 times out of 20, the hotter shooting team would win the game.
Yeah, and I think it really, a lot of things changed here when Shaq decided that he was going to be dominant anytime that the ball was shot and missed. He decided to go in and bang people around on the offensive board, and he became productive for himself with some points, but more important, he kept the ball alive for other people. And then I thought in the second half that Washington could not keep Miami at bay. Not 1 and out. They were getting 2 and 3 opportunities before something bad would happen.
This is going to be the 4th straight game in the playoffs in which Miami will have held the opposition under 40%. 17-point Miami lead as we wind down. And our thanks to our crack crew out here, Melissa Horton, our statistician George Hill, the man with all the information, Steve Hurt, producer Ed Favashoff, director Drew Esikoff. Action next weekend on ABC, a Saturday night primetime game, which is Miami-Washington, and then a Sunday game to be determined. And executive producer Mike Pearl, as Leitner scores, and in garbage time, the remnants of this crowd still being entertained. Final minute of play. Wade will wind up as the leading scorer with 20 points for Miami. Arenas had 25, used 23 for Washington. So Miami took a big early lead, 17-point second quarter. Washington had a big run, made it a game at halftime. Thomas with the dunk. But then Miami had a good spurt early in the third quarter. Washington was able to nibble away. And then toward the end of the third quarter, thanks in good measure to Dwayne Wade, Miami began to pull away. Fourth quarter was a runaway. And it's 1-0 in this best of 7. Miami wins it 105-86. We'll be back in Miami right after this.